I'm your host, Francis Rose. The MCRISS team did a lot of legwork before they started to automate the mundane aspects of Marine Corps recruiting. Today, their team can focus better on more high-value areas. Jason Glavich is Program Manager for the Marine Corps Recruiting Information Support Office, and Chief Warrant Officer Chris Mayfield is Operations Officer for MCRISS. Thanks both very much for joining me. Jason, I'll start with you. Tell me about how you're trying to automate some of the tasks that recruiting officers have to do every day to free them up to do the things that only they can do.
So one of the keys for us is not to focus on the huge things that they work on, but to focus on the smaller tasks that they do. To remove those smaller tasks, there's a lot more time to focus on finding quality candidates for the Marine Corps. And it's really been kind of instrumental to them moving forward on a new system. So as we build it, we make sure that we do that re-engineering to make sure that all data is properly cataloged, it's checked, and then the recruiters, with the assistance of the operations officer and the other recruiters on the program, we're able to kind of move that along to free up more and more time for each recruiter as their day goes by.
Tell me about that engineering process, that re-engineering process that Jason just talked about, Chris.
Right, so the key is to look at some of the human repeatable tasks that recruiters do. Having that experience on the team with the 3 additional Marines, that really helps draw on their experience so that we can automate some of the mundane tasks that recruiters do day to day, whether it's building out their yearly plans and then transferring that to a monthly plan or a daily calendar, and being able to seamlessly transition from one to the other without having to repeat the task of entering it in three separate areas.
When you started to look at these processes, did everybody agree on the things that could be automated and the things that maybe shouldn't be automated? Or was there a little bit of a discussion process that you had to go through before you decided where to start?
I think with anything that's been in place for a number of years, and our current system went from a paper-driven system to a digital system, the resistance to change is there at first. But working with the Marines and seeing the product's capabilities and what we can do, it became very evident, hey, we can change this, make this better, provide more utility to the recruiter themselves, and then along with that, we can then improve further, right? So once you kind of take your first step at improvement, you keep rolling with it. And that's kind of where the Marines have been instrumental is. We kind of set the ball for them kind of rolling, and they've been jumping on trying to push in anything, hey, let's enter data one time, let's use this for our analytics. And it's really been instrumental for them to be in the room and see how all these processes work to allow that to happen kind of across the entire system and not just in one small area.
So you used the magic word there, analytics, and I wonder how that fits into this process.
That's a key for us, right? So our analytics are heavily based on the data put into the system. And if there's data integrity issues, your analytics are bad. If you don't build in your analytic capability from the beginning, you wind up with a system where you're trying to bolt stuff on after the fact. And government systems kind of been notorious for very short-sighted initially, and then you bolt a lot of things on. Those become very, very hard to maintain. Your technical debt goes through the roof as you try to maintain those systems. So we've worked really hard with the Marines to make sure that any reporting features they need, any of the data that they enter is entered one time, it's accurate, and then it's reused as often as possible from the recruiters themselves to the market individuals to the head of MCRISS all the way up reporting for where they're getting the people across the U.S. So we kind of report that across the DoD to say, where are you actually getting your recruits from? So if it's not accurate, you can't report on it. It's a cycle of events that wind up in poor data.
Chris, it sounds like you leveraged an opportunity here that other agencies are starting to think about, civilian and military, and that is you didn't just digitize what you were already doing, you were able to take a step back and say, do we need to keep doing it the way that we were doing it all these years? Or is the digitization opportunity a chance to rethink what we're doing? Am I reading that right?
You are, sir. You're absolutely spot on with that. Bringing in someone myself, I've been on recruiting for some time, and so I'm kind of set in my ways. And so bringing in the younger Marines that are a little more innovative and of current technology demands and needs has really helped. And Jason, too, he does a lot of research. And so things that I thought just needed to be replicated again, they've been able to kind of talk me off that ledge and show me the value of maybe we could automate this process so that you could better do this process. And allowing automation to focus our efforts on things that can't be automated. So it's been really good.
What are the things that you think are applicable to somebody else, whether they're somewhere inside the Defense Department or in a civilian agency? What have you learned that would be applicable to them too?
One of the big efforts that helped drive this was we actually had a 2-year roadmap effort that went and talked to every single Marine recruiter that was on during that time. And what it helped us identify was the problem wasn't, again, the big things. It was these little small mundane tasks that were just driving timelines, losing hours a week, repetitive things. And we were able to say, okay, everybody wants to fix this giant problem. But if we start by fixing these small things first, we can really get it moving towards, okay, fix a small thing, another small thing, and the culmination becomes a very big change to the system. Our current system, we've been rolling it out to the users here and then beta testers, and they already see a vast improvement over their current system. So I would say the key is to focus on the small tasks and tackle those first, kind of get your appetite with those, and then try to tackle the bigger tasks, right? You can't automate the entire process in a day, but as we go forward with our kind of DevOps mentality, we'll be able to tackle the bigger tasks once we solve all those small ones that were driving the thing. Again, recruiters have a lot of functions they do to put somebody in the Marine Corps, whether it's officer or enlisted. And those repetitive tasks are the ones that, again, entering data, if we can just automate a small part of that to give them more time to actually get knee to knee with an applicant, that's where all the money's saved right there. It's worth everything we invest to do those things.
Chris, we have about 30 seconds left. What can you do to verify that you're reducing or maybe even error-proofing the work that you're doing?
Right, through the validation rules of the business process. So on the back end, we can apply our business processes and ensure that those validations are met at data entry with warning errors and self-help features that will streamline the process. And Jason's spot on with the accumulation of saved time is what's really going to pay off. Those small incremental changes in time will really give time back to the recruiter so that they can spend time with their families or they can go recruit more.
Chris, Jason, thanks both very much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.